So 2020 is the year when people started seeing the value of creating their home workspaces or designing their home workspaces in order for them to become more productive, to be more inspired whenever they're working from home. And because of the pandemic, people are stuck at home and they don't go out. And for that same reason, they notice the importance of creating beautiful but functional spaces at the same time. So in this video today, I just want to walk you through the process of me revamping this whole space into becoming a cozier and more functional and more productive workspace in order for me to use on a daily basis. With that being said, I just want to start by showing you how my desk or how my home office used to look like before. My room has always been a bit lighter and the walls were off-white, and as you can see from my previous setup before, everything was kind of like an afterthought of about everything. So I kind of wanted to go with a moodier look, wanted to refresh the whole setup and make it look a bit more Nordic, but at the same time it's a bit dark and moody. I didn't really want to go for the industrial kind of look. So I've been using this space for well over a year now. There have been different iterations, different types of usage of the space. There used to be a couch behind me. The desk used to be here where I'm facing right now, beside the television, and my drawers used to be that kind of setup. But I realized that it wasn't, that I really wanted to kind of like open this space up so that I can actually have more space or room to move. And this space right now is where I would usually put my guitars on a kind of like a trolley of some sort with wheels, caster wheels on. And with that kind of like setup before, I didn't really have a lot of room to move. So I decided to kind of like move this whole desk setup here behind me. I did a lot of experimentation, lived in this space for a bit, and also tried different types of like crazy ideas, but this is for me the most optimal setting as I work on a daily basis. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Emmy. I'm an architect by profession. I'm also a business owner. I also play in a band. I make music and I make content like this. So in this channel, I talk about mostly lifestyle, productivity hacks, and also some tech, which are the things that I love the most whenever I'm not doing music or photography or any kind of like design related stuff. So let's start first with the desk. The desk is from a small business called Bellini Gallery, which I just found on Facebook through a friend of mine. They create custom furniture for your home office or for your home. So I chose this desk because it actually has this tray for my MIDI controller, which I use for music production. And apart from it being matte black all over, it also has some cubby holes, which I use to store some of my notebooks, my pens, some of my work from home essentials, and also my computer and some music related essentials as well. So it's made from plywood na pinagpatong-patong, or it's been put together and it's been painted semi-gloss or semi-matte, but it's kind of like glossy and matte at the same time. One thing that I noticed from the desk itself is that after a few years of you using it, I've been using it for about 3 years now, you'll see some stains from the drinks that you put and some thumb marks also, which you need to clean because it's matte black. It's very noticeable when there's a lot of fingerprints and a lot of stains that you put on the table. So behind the desk, I installed some cable management trays in order for me to actually hide the cables that go haywire and go crazy, because I have a lot of stuff that I put on the desk. For the desk mat, I use the Orbit Key desk mat, which actually allows you to hide some of your notes underneath it. So it's made from vegan leather, and I got the matte black version and the medium sized one, and I've been using it for about a year now and I've had no issues as well. It's also very easy to clean. It also has this magnetic tray which you can use to organize your cables. You can actually use their magnet cable organizer. So if you want to charge your keyboard or your mouse or your AirPods, anything, put the cable through it so that it doesn't really mess your desk too much. Behind the desk, I also installed a strip light, an LED strip light from Xiaomi, and it's actually programmable to have different types of colors from the eLight app. And the reason why I got this is because I think it's very useful to illuminate the desk whenever you're working late night, when you really want to have some mood lights. And for me, I just keep it at the white kind of light or the orange kind of white, just so it's cool and warm. I'm not really a fan of RGB, as you can see, but when it comes to lighting in this room, it's very important for you to have focus lights and mood lights as well. Now for my chair of choice, I got it from a store called Ergo Home, and it's called Ventus. So I have had no problems with this chair for the past 2 years also, but I just changed the wheels into a different type of caster wheels in order for it to be able to swivel around and to actually use it smoother. It's pretty good for your back. It has a good lumbar support system, and the mesh fabric is also amazing for its price. So in terms of my peripherals, for my keyboard of choice, I've been using the Keychron K2 V2 for the past 2 years already. I got this in 2020, and I started seeing the value of mechanical keyboards because of my friend Jake, who's also in a band just as I am. His band is called Bana Herrera. You guys should check him out. Bought it in 2020, and I've actually loved it because I've been a Mac user for the longest time, and this particular keyboard is actually dedicated for Mac users because of the keys that it has. For the quality of the keyboard, it's quite amazing. It's very tactile, and I really love the texture of the keycaps as well. So I have currently the blue switches, and they sound very nice. The travel time of basically the whole thing when you're typing is actually very comfortable as well. I added a palm wrist rest, which is also wooden, to actually assist my wrists whenever I'm typing because it's pretty high compared to other membrane type keyboards out there in the market. It also has backlighting, and the keycaps are shine through, and you can connect up to 3 devices with it. So the Keychron K2 V2 for me is one of the best entryways for you to start your mechanical keyboard journey because I feel like it's quite affordable. And for its price point, it's actually very, very versatile. Now for the mouse that I'm using, I've been using the Logitech MX Master 3 for the past 2 years now, and I have no complaints whatsoever. It really is the best productivity mouse out there in the market. The MX Master 3 right now is still by far one of the most value-adding mice that you can get for yourself, simply because it's very programmable using the Logitech Options application, which you can download for both Windows and Mac. And it also has this horizontal scroll wheel that you can use when you're editing videos or when you're navigating through large documents or large graphics. And apart from that, it can connect to up to 3 devices. You can use it as a mouse for your iPad as well. I have no problems with it. It doesn't really hurt my wrists whatsoever, so I didn't have to use any kind of ergonomic like addition for my wrists. Now for my monitor, I use a 34-inch ultra-wide curved monitor from a company called Xiaomi. So I've been a fan of Xiaomi products simply because they're very simple to use. They're also very minimal when it comes to the design. The reason why I chose this monitor is because I come from a 24-inch 1080p monitor. I wanted to have a bigger monitor for a bigger display so that I can work bigger as well. I didn't really intend it for gaming use. Tried gaming with it a few times, but I'm not really much of a gamer. For this kind of monitor, I actually like the idea that it's 2K, but it has a 144Hz refresh rate, which is actually good for gamers. But I mainly use it for video editing and also for AutoCAD drawings and rendering. It's not the most color accurate type of monitor. It also doesn't have speakers, but to me it actually does the job. With this kind of monitor, you can actually do a lot of things. So it has 2 HDMI ports and 2 display ports, which you can use for your PlayStation, for your computers, and Nintendo Switch, whatever devices you use for gaming, and also for productivity. So I use both my Mac and my PC. So the switch is quite easier. The buttons are on the back, and they're also very easy to navigate. As a video editor and content creator, it's actually pretty useful as well. But nowadays, investing on a 4K monitor that's not super ultra wide is the way to go when you are using it for office work or productivity. On top of my monitor, I use a base US light bar, which I absolutely love because it actually saves a lot of space when you're working in the evening or when you're journaling. I love journaling, I love writing notes, and I actually use it as kind of like a top light instead of me using like a lamp, which takes up a lot of desk real estate. And of course, my computer of choice is the M1 Mac Mini from 2020, which I made a video about a few months ago. If you haven't seen that video yet, the link is up here or somewhere here. The M1 Mac Mini 2020 is absolutely one of the best workhorses for me whenever I'm video editing, especially editing videos like this in 4K or making like Instagram reels or making content. Majority of my video and creative work, any kind of like Adobe work, is actually done in the M1 Mac Mini. So it sits on top of a Satechi Mac Mini dock, which actually gives you a lot of versatility when it comes to ports. So it actually has 3 USB-A ports in front, a 35mm headphone jack, 1 USB-C port, 1 micro SD port, and an SD card reader. And I also use my 9-year-old Windows PC, which actually still works right now. It's just a bit slow when it comes to rendering. It cannot handle videos or any kind of like video rendering whatsoever. I just mainly use it for CAD work and some light 3D rendering and some occasional gaming. My reference monitors of choice would be the M-Audio AV42 ones. And I got this way back, maybe like 4 years ago, because I realized that I needed monitor speakers or reference monitors whenever I'm kind of like doing pre-production work for music. And I realized that it's also very useful when you're video editing, because when you're video editing, it's very easy for you to actually hear all of the frequencies. So they're not like both active monitors. On the right one, it's actually a passive monitor which you hook up to the active monitor to your left. So for sound production people or music producers or sound engineers, this may not be the best option for you, but for people like us who do pre-prod work, recording demos for songs or recording some simple scores for YouTube videos like this, it's actually pretty good for its price as a good starting reference monitor. For lighting my face during Zoom calls or Zoom meetings, I actually use this like standard ring light, small ring light, which I actually attached on the monitor, so it's like sits on top and you can actually control it inside the cubby holes. Now behind my monitor, behind my desk, is an actual steel pegboard which I installed in order for me to store some of the materials that I use on a daily basis, such as my headphones. And my headphones of choice is of course the M-Audio M30X, which is still also a good budget option when you're listening or you're recording some music. I also have some trays, some standard office like pen cups or like pen holders. I also put there my gaming controller, which is an iOS gaming controller from SteelSeries. I kind of like hide it from my view so I don't get enticed to play, but it's actually a pretty good display choice also for some of the matte black items. I got a matte black one also because I feel like it blends with all of the items that I have. On top of the desk in front of me is actually a standard walnut looking floating shelf, which actually stores some of my old camera gear which I've been using for the past how many years already. So there's an old Canon 6D, which is a trip down memory lane. Brought it with me to Japan, to Batanes, to Palawan when I've been shooting landscape photography. And unfortunately, a few years back, it actually fell to the ocean and it was never recovered anymore because of the corrosion. That was my bad. Just kind of like display it to remind myself to be more careful. And then beside it is an old Sony A7, which is my first Sony full frame camera. So it just stopped working earlier this year. I also have there a 17-40 f4 lens, which is the lens attached to the Canon 6D when it fell to the water. And then I also have some Funko Pops from Star Wars. I think I have like 2 Stormtroopers and a Kylo Ren one. And then I have some candles and some accessories. Now beside me as I'm working is an Alex drawer. So this Alex drawer is the one with casters and it actually stores a lot of my stuff, so it's easier to access. I use this in order for me to organize all of the things that I need on a daily basis, and I really love organizing this drawer. I think I'm thinking of making a separate video on how I organize all of my stuff. I'm gonna be discussing more on that later. I chose the white one because I feel like it's a good contrast with all of the blackness and the darkness in this setup already. So the white IKEA Alex drawer on casters is actually a pretty good option for you if you want like good storage space, but it's not too expensive as well. To my right side over here, I have a set of Lurberg shelves, also from IKEA, which I use to store some of the items that I use on a daily basis. Now they change a lot, so this is also where I store some of my cleaning stuff, some of my gear that I need easy access to. I also put my amplifier, my guitar amplifier beside me whenever I want to record and also play some music. And then I also put this lamp, which is behind me over there. This is a mood lamp, or like a focus lamp, to kind of like give some sort of illumination to the space so that it's not so dark. And below it is actually a Lego scale model of the Farnsworth house by Miss Van der Rohe. It just gives me a good reminder of the principle of less is more. It's a good architecture piece. I'm not gonna be discussing a lot about this organization space because I'm also gonna make a separate video for this one, but for now this is just where all my books and some of my random stuff are placed. I also like to share with you that I didn't get all of these things all at once. These were stuff that I have accumulated for the past 7-8 years already of me working. If you are pressured to create a space like this in just a year, don't be. Just start with what you have right now and just clean them and make it more useful. At the end of the day, it's not about how it looks like, it's about how the space can actually make you more productive and more inspired to work. So you don't have to be pressured to make your space as good looking as the other setups that you can see on YouTube or Pinterest. I just really want you to know that you can actually work with what you have right now and then slowly build your way up. It will take a lot of research and it will take a lot of awareness in order for you to get to know how you really work around your house. I suggest that you just try to work the best way that you can using your existing space, and then start by adding some stuff that you'd like to make the space a bit more inspiring than it is. This is not quite finished yet. This space will always evolve. The space is always going to be changing, but for now I'm very happy with this kind of like setup because it actually reinforces my habits in order for me to work efficiently on a daily basis. The way that I can be grateful to the process is for me to be able to work the best way that I can excellently without being too lazy. So I hope this video inspires you, and if you got a lot of value, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm everywhere. So I have my Instagram and my Twitter, and if you want to get notified whenever I upload new videos like this, click on the bell button as well. I'll see you guys in the next one.